I missed you all. I'm really, really glad to be back. And today we're going to talk about where I was this weekend. This weekend, I was a panelist at the very last AnimeFest. And if you had told that to me 5, 10 years ago, I wouldn't believe you. But AnimeFest, long running Texas convention, decided that they're done with large scale events. Now, they're not done for good, but the staff is going to focus on smaller scale events, nothing as big as the cons that they used to have. That took a lot of people by surprise, myself included. I've been a panelist at Anime Fest for multiple years. I was even cosplay manager for a little while. It was shocking to hear the decision that they were going to sort of pack it up. But with that came a bunch of really, really interesting steps along the way. And I feel like it's worth talking about. Now, keep in mind, I'm saying all of this as someone who has respected and loved Anime Fest for years. You can actually see my badge in the frame. I love this convention, and it's because I love this convention that I've been able to form the opinions that I have. My very first Anime Fest was in 2010, a shocking 14 years ago. And it was always at the most perfect hotel, which was the Sheraton downtown Dallas. I loved that hotel. It's one of my favorite hotels. It has the iconic sky bridge. You go across and there's this beautiful food court because that's exactly what you need as a cosplayer is greasy fast food. That sky bridge had some of the best photo opportunities. It was this huge, big, open space. I loved the Sheraton. And really, really quickly, Anime Fest became related to and attached to the Sheraton. Now, this year, when they announced that it was going to be the last year, one would assume that they would have it at the Sheraton. That is not what happened. They had it at Lowe's in Arlington. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to hate on the venue. I actually quite liked it, and that almost made it worse. You could see future conventions happening here. You could see future Anime Fest happening here. But you knew that that's not coming. Deciding to close out the way that they did made for a very, very interesting scenario of people not being sure whether it's worth going or not, or those of us who were frantic to get there. Now, I signed up to be a panelist. I will admit, I heard back really late in the game, much later than I'm used to turning around for a con, and that created some issues for programming. Now, I was in luck because Anime Fest was actually the convention that me and my best friend Carlos met at, all the way in 2011. So there was almost no way we were missing the last Anime Fest, even if we were just popping in as civilians for a few hours. There was no way we were not going to be a part of this. So I was able to be flexible and move things around and make it as a panelist. I was even able to fill in for other panelists that couldn't make it. And I'm glad that I did. I will say, numbers were low. It's definitely much smaller than I expected. And I understand the desire to not go to a con that you know is on its last leg, but I was really shocked to see how few people were there. Um, I think that only made the new hotel situation worse because Lowe's is a beautiful venue. It's a big venue. It's height of its power Anime Fest Acon venue. And when those hallways simply aren't packed, when those panel rooms aren't packed, when the artist alley is mostly empty, you feel every missing member. I want to talk about programming a little bit. Anime Fest, like most conventions, fully understands that while it is important to have big budget and very, very important guests and industry guests, fan panelists also help up make a good bulk of the convention. And there was just an interesting lack of programming just all over. It just felt like part of the part of the ghost had already been given up. The arcade was small, everything was small. Everything felt like they already had their foot in the grave. And that's really sad to me. As someone who's been a part of this convention for as many years as I have been, I was really hoping for its last hurrah to be exactly that. In a lot of black communities, we don't really talk about having funerals, we have celebrations of life. And that's more of the vibe that I was looking for. What I got was a wake that wasn't even catered. Now, don't get me wrong, I had a great time, and I'm so glad that I got to be a part of this, and I'm so glad that programming trusts me enough after all these years to let me fill in for other panelists that couldn't make it. There is no part of me that isn't grateful for everything that AnimeFest has done. I love that con. It was just really bittersweet seeing it go out like this. And I hope that whatever comes forward next for this convention and for the staff is something great, is something that they can handle. Honestly, it's been kind of hard being a Texas panelist. A lot of the Texas conventions just don't seem like they're doing what they used to do. Acon is continually in what is frankly embezzlement drama. A lot of our older cons have been struggling, and that's a sentiment that has been felt all throughout the community. There's been a big push for the big autograph shows, your fan expos and stuff, where it's basically just an autograph signing. And that's made it really, really hard for cons to exist, and especially a con like Anime Fest. Because here's one thing I've always loved about Anime Fest and why I've always loved being a part of this convention is that Anime Fest is a nonprofit. These people that work so hard behind the scenes are doing this because they believe in the message of the convention. And I think that's so important. As someone who, definitely did not have as much access to anime and manga as I would have liked when I was younger due to stigma, it's so freeing to know that there are organizations that are determined to help bridge some of those gaps. It's one of the reasons why I'm so proudly Mu Epsilon Kappa. It's one of the reasons I love Anime Fest. Um, some general observations from the last Anime Fest. A lot of kids. Um, I have mixed feelings about kids at convention. This is mostly just fully me being an older fan, and I know a lot of the things that I saw, even when I was 18, 19 years old, were mm, less than ideal. Now, I will say Anime Fest is pretty good at being family friendly, or at least as family friendly as possible and as many spaces as possible. But a lot of kids, a lot of babies, more than I was expecting, frankly. Um, there seemed to be 5 photographers for every one cosplayer. That was really interesting. There was a ton of photographers. Um, Yeah, I love the layout of Lowe's. The only thing I didn't like, they have some funky naming conventions with some of their ballrooms from Dolomite to Crystal, and it's like, okay, someone was having a good time. Parking. Okay, parking has been the topic since Anime Fest announced its move. So Lowe's is really in the heart of Arlington's entertainment district, right next to where the Rangers play and not too far from where the Dallas Cowboys play. Parking was always going to be a nightmare. Luckily on Saturday it wasn't too bad, but by Sunday, parking was full because there was another concert going on at the Globe Life Stadium. And then the hotel itself wasn't sure whether to let 1 day con goers receive valet parking or not. So you'd either have to park all the way in Timbuktu and hike in Texas heat to the hotel, or pray that the valet accepts your car. They took mine. I'm really lucky, but it took me 30 minutes to get my car back because they were so clogged up from people checking out and convention goers that really didn't have any other choice but to go through valet. None of that is the convention's fault. None of that is Anime Fest's fault, and I will hear no slander of this convention. Like all conventions, this is a beautiful ritual brought together by effort, will, and determination and love. I don't get paid to be a panelist. I pay a lot of money to be a panelist. Volunteers don't make money, though I do appreciate staff meal. We do this because we love it. And Anime Fest will always have a very, very special place in my heart. I'm definitely sad to see it go, but I'm also so thankful for the years I've had with it. So stick around. Here are some of my favorite memories from Anime Fest over the years. And oh boy, it's good to be back.